Today again, that's good. Although it is really cold, and I'm just wondering, is this weather prediction right? Man, it says next week one of the days could be minus like what, 15? Minus 15? Holy cow. They said it was actually supposed to be snowing today, maybe tonight. We'll see. Still reading CES stuff today, although things like regulations came up as opposed to just hardware and stuff. I guess the first thing I read today was this one here. It says, police drone pilot shouts, "Look out, move," as aircraft crashes onto city street. Owners of similar drones are being warned they can fall in the rain. I don't think you have to tell me all that, correct? It says, a police drone pilot shouted, "Look out, move," as the aircraft he was controlling plummeted out of the sky. The drone was being flown in the rain about 300 feet above Maidstone Road in Hydefields, Leicester, as part of a police training operation. The 26-year-old pilot, who had 57 hours of experience flying drones, saw 4 propellers of the DJI Matrice 210 quadcopter spinning out of control, falling from the sky. The aircraft was smashed into the road without hitting anything or anyone and was destroyed. So this is obviously larger enterprise type of solution drones, not like Phantoms or Mavics and stuff like that. It says, although the weather was wet, the pilot judged the drone should be able to handle the rain based on the aircraft's rating. Although it is kind of weird to call the Matrice small, like in my opinion, that's like a big drone, just in my opinion anyways. It says the report states that DJI Matrice 210 quadcopter, small unmanned aircraft, was being operated by the police as part of a training exercise. The pilot had checked the weather as part of the preparation, and although rain was forecast, it was considered the condition was suitable. After liftoff and controls were checked, the satisfactory of the aircraft was ascended to 300 feet to maintain safe separation from nearby buildings. It was still raining, but as the flight progressed, the rain eased to drizzle. By the sounds of it, it says he was hovering, I guess, the drone for about 5 minutes, and then when he basically wanted to change position, that's when it went out of control and it fell to the ground. It says it took an estimated 5 seconds for the aircraft to fall to the ground, where it was destroyed on impact. No person was injured. Examination of the recorded data showed that a motor blocked warning message had been activated and the rear left motor had failed. Just in general, I'm basically not going to fly in the rain. Although funny enough, like with snow, I just find before when I was capturing the footage, it comes out as really dry. It's more about the temperature I'd be concerned about. So that story kind of makes me think of the other thing that I saw today, which basically relates to the FAA and how in the US with drones, they could potentially introduce remote ID where everyone who flies a drone has to use it. So at the CES, apparently the FAA had, a Secretary Elaine L, Chao, who was basically talking about those types of initiatives, reasons for it and all that. So it seems like at first they talk about just the growth of the industry, how it's progressing, what you can do to integrate it into the sky, I guess with commercial flights and all that, or hobbyists, etc., and why they feel, I guess, it's good.
This document and set of guidelines recognizes the value of private sector leadership in AV research, development, and integration. This kind of innovation requires appropriate government oversight to ensure safety, open markets, strategic allocation of public resources, and of course, protection of the public interest. So innovation is occurring in all modes of transportation. Aviation is experiencing tremendous growth of unmanned aircraft systems, or drones. Using drones for surveying damaged environmental circumstances or scenarios, or utilizing drones for search and rescue, or for agricultural applications and delivery of packages, and even passengers, are just a few of the current and future potential uses of drones. There are now 1.5 million drones in the skies. And over 160,000 remote pilots are now registered with the FAA. This is a job category that did not even exist 5 years ago. So the department is charting a course for the safe integration of these innovations into our national airspace. And these initiatives include allowing drone testing in a variety of environments, advancing drone airspace management, and developing a framework for remote drone identification, which has significant security implications. The Department of Transportation recently announced a notice of proposed rulemaking for remote identification of drones. And the proposed remote ID rule would apply to all drones over half a pound that are required to be registered with the Federal Aviation Administration. So remote IDs will enhance safety and security by allowing the FAA, law enforcement, and federal security agencies to identify drones flying in their jurisdiction. And these include, among other initiatives, beyond the virtual and visual line of sight at low altitudes. So for those who are interested, the 60-day public comment period ends on March 2nd, 2020.
But there was this one comment that she made which caught my attention the most. It relates to that story, like in the US, how there's apparently dozens of drones flying at nighttime in a certain region and no one can figure out what's going on. And she basically made a comment how because of stuff like that, of the unknown, I guess you could say, that basically warrants why there needs to be a universal remote ID system in the US for everyone, regardless of what you fly, hobby, commercial, etc.
And I think for all of us who have read about or seen recent news developments out of Colorado and also Nebraska of mystery drones flying informations at night, well, that's certainly a timely illustration of why remote IDs are needed.
I was thinking, isn't that fear-mongering? Basically saying something of the unknown in that sense is, oh my god, it's dangerous for this and this. I mean, in my opinion, if you want to make that remote ID stuff for people in the US, it just seems like it's overboard for like a regular recreational person. You expect them to be tracked and all that. Not even cars are tracked in that way. As I'm not from the US too, just from my personal observation and opinion, just with the way she's talking so far, it doesn't sound like she's an actual drone operator. Correct me if I'm wrong. It just reminds me like here in Canada where so many people, they basically say, yeah, this law is great, they come up with it, yet they don't have no real practical hands-on experience. I would think too, because part of the speech is about, maintaining innovation and all that. This will basically kill innovation, wouldn't it? For example, I can imagine like just a regular person experimenting with drones in their back or something like that. They won't be able to do it anymore. Or the people are going to be afraid that they're going to be flying UFOs like in those stories. Now, how this relates to that other story that I read about the police drone crashing and all that, in my opinion, if it's about safety and all that, there should be more focus on stuff like that. Basically making sure manufacturers are releasing products that are safe to fly, because I know that is an issue with the drone industry in general, where many times you could have thousands of people reporting the same problem and then the company will just shrug their shoulders saying, it's your fault, not ours. So there's no accountability. So in my opinion, if you want like laws and stuff, there should be more stuff like that. That way, for example, it'll be like a car manufacturer. You release a dud out there, then you recall it. I mean, that's part of the safety protocol and stuff, right? Whereas for things like tracking and all that, I mean, it depends on how you're using it, in my opinion. Again, for like a regular hobbyist and so forth, there's a huge difference between someone like me flying something so small just to capture some footage versus like this, a police officer using something large going over various peoples to do police chases, that's what you want to say, etc., etc. What do people in the US think about comments like that? My worry is just as usual, like even here when people just say, oh, whatever, it's only like what, a few bucks? I mean, would be my concern personally. Yeah, it's just a few bucks, but if the whole foundation of that system wasn't actually based on practical safety applications, people just keep coming up with ridiculous stuff like this as well. And on a note with that story that's still going on about those unidentified drones and so to speak, how is it with all this time people haven't actually found out what it was if they really wanted to? You have all the technology to send people to the moon. You have TV shows or whatever, National Geographic having these high-powered cameras that can see tiny animals from a huge distance. People, astronomers capturing what? Telescope-based images of stars and so forth. How can you not find out what this is if you really wanted to? It's almost like you want to drag it along just for like the drama. Is this like reality TV or something like that? Or just so they can say here, oh, this is why we need remote drone IDs. You heard my voice again, huh? Nice jump. Gotta go hide it. Alright, see you guys later.